Great student section. Again, was fired up to see them and see the confetti go up in the air. That was really cool. Looking forward to the rest of Manhattan coming out to seeing us and having a packed arena. But very proud of the guys. They really paid attention to the scouting report. We were very prepared. Coach Malagy did an unbelievable job with the scouting report. Coach Perry did a great job calling the offense. So I was very, very pleased.
Now that the first one's out of the way, what's kind of going through your mind about that experience?
Well, it was great to have my family here, and the lady, Dr. Jennifer Cooper, who was the principal at Heritage Christian, who first hired me. Her and her husband, Royce Cooper, they came to my first game as a college coach, head coach, and so did David Kelly, who was the pastor of the church. And so to have them here to experience this with me was very special. My mom and dad, they have had doctor's appointments coming up, so they couldn't make it here for the first game. So I would have loved for them to be here, but they got to watch it via ESPN Plus. So it was just a terrific experience.
How was it to kind of have your team celebrate you after the game? It was, your first win, your first game. I think I saw the pictures. You got doused pretty good there.
Yeah, I got doused pretty good. I kind of wasn't expecting it. I was just thinking about, okay, what are the 3 things I need to tell them so they can get out and go celebrate themselves, and move on to the next thing. And then I saw bottles, and I was like, oh, man, here it comes. So, enjoyed it with them.
And then finally, just what's one positive and maybe one negative that instantly comes to your mind?
Well, the positive is that we shared the ball. 25 assists, 30 made buckets. I think 6 guys in double figures, maybe something like that. So, that's a positive. The negative is that the game is 40 minutes long, and I felt we only played about 17 minutes at the intensity level and the focus that we need to, in order to win, Big 12 games, much less Big 12 road games. And so our goal now is to stretch that 17, to 25 to 35 to get it there at some point in time.
Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to ask. How hard is it to teach a new team, that plays so well in the first half that you can't stop? You got to keep going through the finish line.
Yeah, it's just human nature, man. Most people, for every 1,000 guys who can handle, adversity, there's only one who can handle success. And, teaching 18 to 22-year-olds to not play the scoreboard and to not think about themselves when things are going well, but to keep, doing all the little things. And so it's just a growth process. And, we don't want to be like peaking today, right? So it's good to have things that we have to work on and growth that can take place.
And you've got athletes, you've got scorers, you've got guys that can put the ball in. Is it more difficult to teach these guys, all new guys, coming together, team defense, this is what you got to do together as a unit?
Yeah, chemistry is not just offensively, it's also defensively, and communication and trusting that the person behind you that you can't see is going to be there for you and you do your job and, those things. So that's going to come along. And like I said, this is a starting point, and it's good to have things that we could continue to improve. If this is as good as we can be, we're in trouble. So it's good to have stuff to work on.
Jerome, the 3 guys who sat out today, is plan to redshirt them?
Yes. Yeah, that's the plan, is to redshirt all 3 of them. They all 3 agreed to do it. They all understand that this is going to help their career, and we're going to be able to pour into them. And I was excited. I was excited about them making that decision. It was their choice. Okay, I gave them the option to, and understand, because good business is when both people win, and I didn't see how the win for them on a night in, night out basis if they chose to play, but I gave them the option to play or the option to redshirt, and we laid out a plan for them, and they chose the option to redshirt. And, I'm excited. I think this moves our program ahead 2 years because we're going to have a great scout team. Every game, every practice is going to be their game day, and they're going to get after it. And it was something that was very successful for us while I was at Baylor, and I'm very thankful to have the kind of young men who can see the big picture and are willing to buy into it.
I also wanted to ask about specifically half-court offense. You guys obviously scored when you got out and ran, maybe stalled out a few times when you had to run stuff. What can you do better in that phase of the game?
I got to go watch film and see it. It's for me, it's always about pace what pace are we moving at offensively when we run our stuff. And so I got to go back and watch. But I thought for the most part, the package we decided we were going to run today, that we did a good job of running it in the first half. And then in the second half, we just, tried to get good ball movement and learn to play with each other a little better.
I heard King McClure really praise you on the Baylor broadcast earlier today, and then he also mentioned how weird it was for you to not be on that sideline. How different was it for you to know, you have your own program now, and now you're running things?
Watching Baylor play earlier today was a little different, and it was cool listening to King talk and then watching them do their thing. But I'm super excited about where I'm at right now, and we have some really special young men. They are the kind of guys that you would enjoy having over your house and, just spending time with away from basketball. And they happen to be very talented basketball-wise, but we're probably more talented collectively than we are as individuals. And so I'm excited to see how we can make this thing grow and get to where it's capable of getting.
And then Keontae mentioned that there was a lot of emotions after the game, not only, for him coming back after 2 years of missing basketball, but also for your first game. Just take me through some of those emotions. I know you went through some of them, but talk about them some more.
Well, for Keontae, right, like I told the guys, nobody, regardless of whether you felt you played well or didn't play well, played a lot, didn't play, nobody should be unhappy tonight, right? Because Keontae Johnson played a basketball game, a real game, right? NCAA basketball game for the first time in 2 years, and a lot of the guys, we have several guys on our team that had some tough roads to get here. And like this is a second opportunity for them. So we just have to be really excited about that. And it's really cool for them to recognize that it was my first game here and the first win here and want to celebrate it. That just shows the character of the guys and that they're willing to think about other people, not just themselves.
Coach, I want to ask you about Bebe. Seems to be the first guy on the floor going after the loose balls and had some touch around the rim. Just what does he kind of bring to your team?
Bebe is probably the nicest human being I've ever been around. And that's saying a lot because I was around Jonathan Tchamwa Tchatchoua, who I thought was just incredible, right? And he's so kind, courteous, thoughtful. He's such a hard worker, so diligent, tries to do everything the right way. And so it's really cool to watch him have success and for him to show some things like, I knew he could make, a mid-range shot. I knew he could short roll. Today he did it with confidence, and that was cool to see. And his energy is contagious, right? And so when people see him do things, they want to do it too. And the fact that our team celebrates those things will have more guys wanting to do that.
And I'm curious about the dynamic when Desi and Marquise are both out on the court. When one of them's out there, they're the lead point guard, it seems. When they're both out there, how does that kind of change the dynamic of the offense?
Well, it just makes us harder to guard. You have multiple guys who can make plays for themselves or for somebody else, and I hope we get to see more of that. I'd like to see, the reason that Dorian, we didn't feel we could redshirt Dorian, which might have been the plan going in. First of all, Dorian improved a ton, right, where we felt he could help us win games, but now it gives us a chance to play three guards at times, and so it gives us a little different dynamic.
Coach Tang, it seemed like your floor spacing was not what you would normally see for an opening game. How'd you feel about it?
What you mean by that?
In a positive manner, it felt like the floor spacing was pretty good for
Well, man,
pretty long
I'm just
stretch.
telling you, Rodney Perry does an unbelievable job teaching offense and spacing and, just reading, and the guys did a good job of really buying into it today. And the way they guarded certain things dictated that we give extra space in certain areas, and I was so proud of how the guys bought into doing it and executing it.
Can you go into those texts in the second half and what went on there? We weren't able to kind of see. what those got called for.
I can't hear you. Can you say that again?
Sorry, with those technicals in the second half, can you kind of go
I
into
think
what
we got
went
a
down there?
flopping call on one, and so I know it's a point of emphasis this year, and for referees to advance, they'll get to the NCAA tournament, they have to call it, and so I understand why Amy called that. And then Quan's, he was just that's not the K-State character that we are going to have or represent out on the court, and he understands that, and we'll take care of that.
And then aside from that moment, how do you kind of evaluate what Naquan did today on the court?
I thought he was all right. You know, he can attack the rim. He's super talented, right? And so his ability to make plays one-on-one, and because of his length and his ball skills, he can get a shot off at any time. And so those things are real positives, and there's some other things that we can get better at, but tonight I thought he was pretty good.
You talked about Dorian redshirting. In what ways did he really improve this offseason to not redshirt?
Well, he came in at 177, I think, or 171, and I think he's 193 right now. So, I mean, Phil, our strength coach, just did an unbelievable job with all of our guys. And I mean, our goal this summer was to get to Big 12 bodies. And I thought that we've developed some Big 12 bodies. And then his confidence level. And just every day, he didn't treat it like he was going to redshirt. He treated it like he was trying to play. And so we see the fruit of that.
And then 41 bench points tonight. What does that say about the depth of your team?
That's great. I feel like, you know, some teams they sub and they don't get, they maybe stay the same or drop. And I feel like when we sub, we can get better. And so that's, you know, it'll allow us to have some runs in games that you get that kind of separation. It's hard for teams to catch back up.
There was a 13-minute stretch there. Keontae had 11 points in those 13 minutes, as you know, three-pointers and dunks and very active. What can be his potential here for people that may not have seen him during his time at Florida? What's his potential here at K-State?
I mean, he was voted preseason SEC Player of the Year, you know, and so I don't want to put a ceiling on it. I don't even want to put a floor in it. He's a really good basketball player, and he's really talented. And every moment that he gets to play, it's a special opportunity. And he's just one of those guys that can go get it. Like, he can get hot and go get it. But I think we got a couple guys like that. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why we got a chance to be pretty good.
Thank you.
You got the first one out of the way now. You get to go on the road to Cal, and just was wondering your thoughts on your first road game and facing Cal.
Man, I'm excited about it. We planned this. This is the one game that we scheduled. Everything else was scheduled for us. And I wanted to play a good team on the road, because if you're going to have a chance to win this league, if you're going to have a chance to go to the NCAA tournament, if you're going to be tough teams can win road games, right? That's just the mark of a tough team. And, you know, that's something we've talked about all summer long, is what it takes to win road games. So I'm excited to have a chance to go and see how much we've improved on somebody else's floor. Coach Fox does a great job, you know, out there. When he was at Georgia, we played him at Baylor, and I mean, they were always hard to prepare for and hard to guard, and you know, they're going to defend you. And so I'm excited to see how our guys respond to being in a different environment and knowing that this has been a focus. So we'll have a pretty good gauge of what we need to work on coming back.
One more question about starting David. Was that because he worked harder in practice this week, or was that a matchup thing?
Yeah, he worked harder in practice this week. And, I mean, no secret, our guys know. And so we have a certain level expectation. And guys, like I said, you know, we have to be consistent in what we do. We want to be every play guys. You know, not just everyday guys, but every play guys, and we'll go back and evaluate and see how things were, and then we'll move forward. But they're always competing.
This was your first opportunity to be a head coach in a game. What do you think you maybe learned from tonight's experience that you'll be able to build on going into the second game against Cal?
I'm going to go watch the film and figure out what I could do a little bit differently. My body language, you know, sometimes I want them to remain poised, and sometimes I might show a little too much, you know, frustration. So I got to keep getting better at that.